Hi, Brian. How you doing? Okay, got your presentation up. Okay, I think this is a really critical error. I highly recommend changing this page and actually the whole honeycomb thing. Um, if you intend on using this piece in your final portfolio, it's just too random. It doesn't have anything to do with the concept you've been working on for 7 weeks. So to add these in week 7 is, as I said last week, I think it's a critical error. I know a couple of your classmates mentioned the same thing, that these seem like random choices, and there's nothing wrong with the presentation. I just think that it's really super distracting in a lot of areas. I'll talk about the presentation in a second, but I just want to mention one more thing about it. It just seems like a couple of your comments throughout the weeks, it seems like you assume that the viewer knows what you're thinking. And I've seen that come up a couple of times in your comments in response to some of your classmates' comments, critiques towards your work. So I think it's really super important as a designer to be able to look at what other people say about your work and to really see what they're saying. And I think the honeycombs is a great example of that. I really, really thought that was going to be changed this week. So if it's not, so that's indicating to me that you intend on using this moving forward. It's my recommendation to reassess that decision if you plan on using this piece in your final portfolio. Okay. All right. Also, I think this background page right here, where you have these swirls kind of enveloping your work, well, those swirls are not part of your branding. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's a juxtaposition that's very, very confusing. We don't see those swirls as part of your branding anywhere, other than the fact that you're using something else. And now, presumably, this is a found pattern because you haven't shown where you have developed it. Okay, and that kind of brings me to another issue. This one's actually very critical. And I want to talk about some layout things, but I also want to talk about this right here. End of your presentation. You just say thanks, but there's no image credits. And I look through this whole presentation and I see there are no image credits. So that is a critical problem. This piece can't go in a portfolio without getting those image credits in place. Okay, in terms of presentation, I think that let me see this. Okay. Yeah, I think this is a mistake. I think using the same typeface for the logo in the presentation, I think that's a mistake. And that's something that'll come out. Your art director presumably will say, hey, you can't use branding in part of the presentation. That's just not how it works. So, and then a couple other things is, look at the size of this headline here. Okay. And then look at how tiny this one is. Okay, look at the size of this type and how tiny this type is. So that's an inconsistency. I think that should be addressed. Again, you have this giant type here, this tiny type here. So I'm finding a lot of inconsistencies here. Here's another one right here. This is a different presentation than that. So there's a lot of inconsistencies in your typographic presentation I think should be addressed also prior to using this in a final portfolio piece. Okay, other than that, I really do. I think that you're off to a good start, a very, very distracting, albeit good start, and I think that the image credits, I think, is really what is the major issue right now. All right. Any questions, comments, concerns, or other, please feel free to contact me. And please keep my contact information. I really appreciate what you're saying about, I do work hard, Brian. I do. I work very hard. Probably a little harder than a lot of your other instructors. And that's just me. I mean, I don't do stuff halfway, including teach. I never will, never did. And so I don't mind going the extra, doing videos and stuff like that. But thank you so much for mentioning that. It really, really means a lot. As I was saying, if you need me for anything at your future here at RimCAD, please feel free to keep my contact information, and I'll be glad to help you out at any time or anywhere I can. All right. Thank you very much.